Hello, everybody. Welcome to the podcast. We are back, better than ever, watching movies that aren't getting any better. This week, Leprechaun 4 in Space from 1996.
Ugh. Yeah.
It could have been worse.
It could have been worse if it was made more recently than 1996. I feel like for all the parodies of other sci-fi movies this movie tries to be, I just imagine it would be exponentially worse. It would be somewhere on the level of the Space Jam remake of Member Berries, as the internet says. Remember when a movie did this? Remember that line? This movie tries that. And the odd thing is, the Leprechaun mythos is sort of good enough to be its own thing, but it has to try to be 5 to 6 other movies with a leprechaun in it.
Yeah, I think if you're going to defend this movie, it's the classic, it's so bad, it's good.
I don't know if it is.
I think it's clever in certain ways. I don't know. I'm torn. It is definitely, of the first four movies, my least favorite of the Leprechaun movies. And some of that is just, it doesn't feel like a Leprechaun movie. It feels like Spaceballs with a leprechaun in it.
They should have subtitled this Space Mess, or, Space Jam. Can't call it Space Jam. Spaceballs, Space Casserole, guest starring the Leprechaun.
It could have been in Spaceballs.
Yeah, sure.
Based off
the Leprechaun is a guest star in his own movie.
Yeah, I think that's kind of fair. The movie starts, and just the font and the graphics are so awful, and it feels like Sci-Fi Network movie of the month. Do you agree?
Probably. I think the Sci-Fi Channel would have been a little bit better than this. Speaking of which, how did this movie premiere?
1996. I don't have the exact date in front of me, though.
That was in Russia, though, right? I saw on Wikipedia it premiered in Russia, 1996 in America, so a few months later in 1997.
Okay, yeah, I see that now. October 31st, Halloween in Russia, and February 25th in the US. This would have been direct-to-video, of course. And the budget was $1.6 million, which I guess is probably not too far off from, I think the first movie wasn't at like $900,000 for a budget or something a few years earlier.
Well, I gotta say, for $1.5 million or whatever, they do some creature effects pretty well. It's not the worst looking of the Leprechaun movies. I don't think, anyway. Not entirely.
I'm sorry, I got distracted by a message from a lawyer. Can you repeat that?
I don't think it's the worst looking Leprechaun movie that we've seen, considering it's not a huge budget, but they do a lot of creature effects in this movie.
Yeah, I don't think the set was probably very expensive. They basically had some corridors they run through. I know, a warehouse that serves as a ship, that kind of thing. And then you have the CGI of space, which is just awful. And
oh man, yeah. Did they list the CGI studio at the end of the movie credits?
I did not look at the credits, other than fast forwarding just to make sure there wasn't anything at the very, very end.
I hate that. I hate that cheap 90s CGI so much when there's no reason to use it.
No, I mean, AI tools, even the bad ones, can make better CGI.
They probably spent so much of their budget on that, too. That's the sad part.
Yeah. From a practical effects standpoint, I do think it holds up relatively well. Nothing looks, other than the blue blood, nothing looks particularly bad to me. Even the what's his name, the Mitten Spider. I think it's no worse than the things we saw in the Swamp Thing movies.
Especially the first one, though. 15 years earlier, right? You gotta give that.
Well, I mean, if Gremlins 3 went straight to video, that's the kind of gremlin you might get. It's no worse than the Ninja Turtles in their third movie. Well, I think the Leprechaun always wins the best part of the movie in terms of the effects.
I just accept him as real, though. I accept the Leprechaun as just a real thing, so that's credit to it.
That is true. Now, I will say the special effects of when the Leprechaun becomes a giant at the end, some of them look fine. When they have him in a room that's resized, so to speak, it looks pretty good. When they have a zoomed up Leprechaun, I'm sorry, it just doesn't look good. Better off not.
Oh no, it's the worst. I don't know what you call that. Not a special effect. Maybe it's a visual effect, but then I'd have to also say the spaceship exteriors aren't good either. It's very, very crop and pace.
Yeah, it's a camera trick of you're zooming in, not zooming in, you're enlarging the image beyond what the pixels can support. And I don't understand why, even in 1995 or when they were six, whenever they were filming this, that they couldn't have gotten a higher resolution image to upscale. But it looks awful. So, what do you think of the plot? Do they come up with a sufficient reason to have a leprechaun in space?
I couldn't figure out the plot. It has nothing to do with the leprechaun, just because he's a bystander. He wants to get married again, but this time not to have an heir. He wants to be king, so he needs a princess, so he can kill her father and then kill the princess, and presumably be king over a whole planet, maybe? But none of that is relevant to what the discount Space Marines want to do. They have an entirely different plot with an entirely different villain.
Well, I think the leprechaun's still their villain. I think he's been disrupting their mining. That's what I took it.
What? Dr. Mittenhouse, he's their boss, he's their benefactor, but he's also the villain. He's like that evil company in the Alien franchise. Can't remember the name of it.
Well, I mean, he views himself as the wizard, but so yeah. So the ragtag crew, including our favorite Nunez Jr., is on a search and destroy mission because the target has cost them over $500 million in mining losses. Not explained how or why, but that seems to be the thing. And then, yeah, at the same time, you have the leprechaun dressed as James Bond wooing the Princess Zarina, who agrees to marry him. And then right after that, they both basically are trying to plan each other's murder the rest of the movie. Low key.
I like that plot thread, by the way. If that's all the movie was, I would find that somewhat entertaining to be invested in.
Yeah, and at first he really does think that he wants a bride to be alongside him as he rules and has the respect of the galaxy. Then he has this quote later: "The path to power is often soiled with innocent blood. It's too long to limerick, and I will let nothing stop me from becoming king. I'll have power and glory, and a beautiful queen to share it with." Share? Now, there's a word that lies crooked upon me. The very sound of it sends my teeth to grate and conjures up pictures of me gold being carted off to pay for feminine pleasures. I feel like a pirate. Leaving me with less than what I want, and what I want is everything. I'll wed her, bed her, and bury her all in the same day. I wonder if her father will pay for the wedding and the funeral.
That's okay. I like it. I figured he'd kill the father off first, but
Yeah, I'm not sure how you do that in such a way as you make everything official.
yeah. Do you remember what planet the princess is from? Whatever her species is.
I don't know if I wrote that down. But the crew,
the Danites or something.
Yeah, their initial goal, the humans, is to use her as a political ploy to have better relations with their home planet. I don't think I cannot see what planet she is from, and it's not in the wiki either.
Well, maybe they. I don't know if they said the planet. They just said the species, whatever she is.
I think they do say the planet.
Oh, okay.
But it's so important to the plot that they don't bother writing it down.
Yeah, so. I know. So that to me is the more interesting plot thread than whatever Dr. Mittenhand.
Yeah, and we should say that Dr. Mittenhand is a shell of himself, so to speak. He kind of resembles Krang in a roundabout way from the Ninja Turtles. And he's got a human head and an arm, and the rest of him is, I think to say a cyborg is too strong of words, but he's basically a machine/robot with a little bit of human on top. And for most of the movie, he looks like a character you would pull out of Austin Powers, and he's on a little TV screen talking to everybody. And then we find out he's got the mutilated body. And once he gets the Zarina in the ship and realizes that she has regenerative abilities, his entire plan at that point is to use her blood to make a serum of sorts to grow back his body. So that's kind of the two things you have going in the movie is you have the scientist trying to fix himself. You have the leprechaun trying to rescue his bride and get his gold back. And you have this ragtag crew just running around getting killed with a doctor helping them. And none of the actors are very good. None of the plot are.
Miguel Nunez, baby.
With the exception of him, that's about it. Though I will give a shout out, and I did not recognize this while I was watching it. That
Uh-huh.
Debbie Dunning was in this
Yes.
movie.
Heidi ho!
Heidi from Home Improvement. I did not notice that.
It's the only movie I can ever remember seeing with Debbie Dunning in it. And I recognized her right away. I said, surely that's not. But then I looked it up and said, oh my goodness. I figured she would have been too busy with Home Improvement in 1996 to even get away to film the movie, but I guess she found the time. And she's in it a fairly long time. I forget when she gets killed off. Maybe the 75% mark of the movie, but she has notable scenes.
She does. No, I think it's just been that long since I've seen an episode of Home Improvement that I just didn't pick up on it. And she's obviously playing a very different character. She's fine. No, it's just all the guys are just pretty lame.
What about the Commander Cyborg guy? Is he lame or is he just weird?
They're the epitome of bad comic book character actors in the movies, like
Yeah.
Double Dragon and stuff. They're just all the epitome of lame action heroes that don't have enough muscles to be the muscle men they're supposed to be portraying.
You expect them to get killed off, and none of them are bad people necessarily. It's not like they do anything wrong. They're loyal to each other. But just because they're so goofy, you don't mind it too much when they get killed off.
It doesn't help that their attire and the sets and even the drinks and the guns are so lame. Choo, choo, choo. It's almost like they're making the sound effect as they shoot their little gun. Choo, choo, choo. But alas. There is a lightsaber in this movie.
Ugh, yeah. Why is there a lightsaber in this movie?
So when did Yoda get his green lightsaber?
That would have been Attack of the Clones. That was the big scene at the end.
What year was that?
2002, I think.
So the first green lightsaber was wielded by Warwick Davis, Lubdan the Leprechaun.
Didn't Sony Trimark have to get permission from George Lucas to even use Warwick Davis in the first Leprechaun?
I kind of remember that. Would it have been tied to Willow?
Yeah. He had been an Ewok in Star Wars Return of the Jedi, but he did Willow in 88.
Yeah. No, I think George Lucas stole the green lightsaber from Warwick, old Lubdan.
Let's see, did Yoda have a green one or a gold one? Yoda had green.
Oh,
they
yeah,
gave Sam Jackson a purple one.
Yeah. But the Leprechaun actually does do something very noble and heroic in this movie.
Well, he does jump on a grenade for his bride-to-be. I don't know if I'll give him full nobility credit for it.
I mean, he took one for the team.
Yeah.
She still lost a hand, but, you know.
He's committed to the plan here. Very committed.
Yes. Yeah, he just found his bride, and she agreed to become the bride, and that takes a while. And that's actually what happens to start the movie. They go down with the seek and destroy mission, and they find the leprechaun, and they get into a dueling gunfight a la stormtroopers, and no one's hitting anything. But then one of them throws a grenade. The girl walks up. He's like, "Get out of here! Get out of here!" And he jumps on it. I mean, he barely covers the grenade. That's how much space he takes up. And then it blows into about 40 parts. Because a little a winking head in there too. And then where the movie kind of takes it and actually gets in the spaceship is they take all his gold. They take the girl back on the ship, and one of the soldiers, which one is it? Is Kowalski. Kowalski urinates on the leprechaun as a victory lap, so to speak. And Warwick Davis, the leprechaun spirit, travels up the stream, so to speak.
How does he do that?
And becomes a very painful kidney stone to Kowalski.
Is this similar to how he, when they did Leprechaun Returns many years later, were they inspired by this bit on how the leprechaun can reconstitute himself through liquid?
I wouldn't say it's a direct copying. The way they did it in the new movie was definitely a PG type version of what this became.
Yeah, you'd rather he bust through your stomach. Yeah.
Yeah.
Then
Yeah, Kowalski got excited later, and repercussions are the leprechaun. He passed the leprechaun, basically.
It was the beginning of the guilt arc for Debbie Dunning, whatever her character's name is.
It is true. She wondered from that point on if she was responsible. And everyone just looks at her like, huh? But,
What a arc she has to be. Oh man.
so the middle of the movie is really just a lot of running around. Staff Sergeant Books Malloy, and Tina have a roundabout way of flirting throughout the whole movie with some of the stupidest dialogue. And other than that, the other characters just watch them flirt with each other. They'll break up into twos, running around looking for the leprechaun. Basically, they use that as an excuse to have 4 or 5 different, 10-minute scenes where the leprechaun cleverly kills somebody. And the deaths are okay. I don't think they're too special. But you have any thoughts on any particular death in this movie?
Um.
I mean, the best one's up front with Kowalski. It's kind of hard to top that.
So the whole deal with Debbie Dunning, I'll just call her Heidi. I think her name is Dolores or something. But Heidi, it's done really weird. There's a suspense where she's hanging off the catwalk, and the leprechaun's playing this little piggy, kicking her hands and pulling one finger off at a time. So she falls, and you don't really see anything, and you think, well, she might be alive. And then the team goes, and they go down, and they just see her, and she looks like she's got a mild concussion, because she's got a bloody forehead, I think. And one guy says, oh, it's too late. She's dead. And Tina's trying to attend to her. But no, she's not dead. She gets a dramatic moment where she says, what? Kill that SOB or something?
Something like that, yeah.
And then she dies. And I kept expecting somebody to make a joke about, you think she's dead now? Because that's the way it would go in a modern movie. They said somebody pronounced her dead and she wasn't dead. And you said, she might even survive this. But no, I don't know. Was it in her contract? They didn't want to get too gruesome to have her in the movie.
I mean, I don't know. And I think that's a good example, too, though, of how none of these characters are playing it straight. Like, they're all over the top. Like, the straight man is the leprechaun. Think about that.
Okay, here's another point, now that you've referenced that about the leprechaun being the most normal of everybody in the movie. And somehow he's the most familiar to us. I don't know what year this movie's supposed to take place in. Maybe it showed up at the beginning, if there's a year. Maybe I missed it. But the Space Marines refer to him repeatedly as the alien. I don't even know if they have a concept of leprechauns. And yet I'm watching the movie, and I'm thinking, the leprechaun is the only character in this movie I'm fairly confident is from the planet Earth. I have no idea where these other people are from, or what their
someone does
history is.
reference Detroit. That doesn't mean they're from there. They've just been there.
That's right. Was it Nunez? Did he make the Detroit reference, or was it some other guy?
It might have been the metalhead guy, but who ended up not being human.
Yeah, I don't understand what they were going for when the leprechaun takes control of the cyborg corporal, and he puts him in the drag show. And there's apparently this loyalty among Styx, because the commander, whatever, saved his life and carried him out of a firefight a while back. So he doesn't want to kill him, so nobody's trying to shoot the guy. But then Tina specifically tricks him, like a matador, into shoving his sword or something into the outlet, so he'll get electrocuted, which kills him. And I'm wondering, if you're willing to go through all that, why didn't you just shoot him?
I guess they just wanted to have a way to have the reveal that he was an actual cyborg, which really just gets them off hook for killing somebody.
And nobody seems to care. Like, I think it's played for laughs, the dialogue. Like,
yeah.
Oh, he was... It's I know it hadn't come out yet, but it's like one of those Austin Power movies where they say, oh, she was a fembot all along or something. And that's... Even if it doesn't make a whole lot of sense, they just put that in there for laughs.
I wonder if this movie would have been better with a laugh track.
Somebody needs to edit that online. The laugh track edit of Leprechaun 4 in space.
It might make more sense of some of the little stupid things they do. It does feel very sitcomish. Let's see here. At some point, the leprechaun finds the girl, and he takes Serena's DNA, and he mixes it in a blender with a scorpion and a tarantula. Now, there's a third guy here, Harold, who's basically, feels like a sex offender. he's kind of the Mitten Spider's, or Mitten Hand's right-hand man, so to speak. But the Leprechaun injects this blended blue goop into Mitten Hand, and then he transforms off screen, but that's where we get the Mitten Spider. And it's a pretty nice
Yeah.
practical effect. It would have fit in well with the Return of Swamp Thing.
So I think Mitten Hand and Mitten Spider, I think he is the bigger threat in this movie because isn't he the one who triggers the spaceship self-destruct sequence?
No, Leprechaun
Really?
does that. Yeah,
When?
Mitten Hand is upset that it's happening, but he's kind of becoming a fly at that point, or only wants to eat flies, and kind of lost track of what little semblance of a brain he had.
Okay. So the Leprechaun activates the self-destruct after he injects Mitten Hand?
Yeah, and I can't recall exactly what it was, but he's running through with the girl, Serena, and he's wanting to get his gold. They put a green force field on the spaceship inside the ship so they can fly away when they're done.
And nobody else can use it.
Correct. But his thought is all these guys need to die, and this seems to be a nice way to do it.
Okay.
And that leads into, I guess you could say, the climax of the movie, when you have Tina and Books and Sticks trying to either get the code to stop the explosion or get access to that ship that has the force field on.
And they split up and spend a whole lot of time doing stuff that doesn't matter to either one of those goals.
Yes, it's got a 90-minute runtime. You got to fill that time. And ultimately, they got this machine that shrunk down the Leprechaun's gold, I guess for space purposes. Pun not intended. And the Leprechaun is not quite sure what's going on other than his gold got shrunk. And then they get into another little, not a lightsaber fight, but another little phaser fight, a la Stormtroopers who can't hit anything. And then Tina gets behind him, and you would think she knows what this machine does, but I guess not.
Yeah.
But instead of shrinking the Leprechaun, she makes him real big, and you have Lepzilla, I guess.
Yeah, it was unclear if she knew what she was hoping to do. Was she hoping to shrink him, or what?
It seemed more accidental than anything else. So
yeah.
But so you got a giant leprechaun at this point. It was probably one of the better parts of the movie, but like I said, when they chose to show it in such a way that they basically stretched out the image of the leprechaun to pixel blurriness, it just didn't look well. And I don't think it would have looked good on a television back in 1995 either, in terms of like the CRT screens, and it's just awful.
The leprechaun spends a whole lot of time too trying to kill, what's his name, Books?
Yeah. He's lost all of his agility.
I know the leprechaun has to kill anybody who messes with his gold, but that's what the self-destruct is for, assuming he really did set the whole thing up. So he knows it's going to blow up, but he's spending time doing other stuff instead of getting his gold and his princess onto the spaceship.
Yep. And he doesn't move very fast at this point. And he's basically just looking underneath boxes while Books hides in different boxes. Eventually, I can't quite recall who does it, but I think Sticks makes it to some room and he's able to open up an airlock.
Yeah.
And this is kind of an underwhelming death scene, but Books gets the Zarina princess, gets her out of they get into a different room basically. The airlock opens. Tina's already gone looking for Sticks at this point. And the leprechaun is sucked out. His body doesn't deal well with the lack of air pressure, and he explodes.
That's a reference to the original Alien, I think.
Probably. But it kind of came out of nowhere in this movie.
Yeah.
There was never a real plan. He just thought of it real quick, told them to do something. They did it, and it was done.
Because they still had to figure out the password to shut off the self-destruct sequence. And that's why nobody can figure out where they need to be at that point.
Yeah, and they, through a muddled way, they eventually get all into the same room where the computer is. They take care of Mitten Spider by freezing him and then shooting him. He kind of blows up. And then they're trying to figure out what the password is, and they're using all these intelligent attempts like smart and scientist. Like that would be your password. And then they were asking like, what did he say when we first met him? And I guess he made a reference to himself as the Wizard of Oz. So they decided Wizard was the password, and they were correct.
I say bull crap. A password would be that easy in whatever year this is. That it wouldn't also require at least one number, a special character, a lowercase and uppercase word, and also a whole captcha system. And yeah,
Yeah, I mean, we got two-step authentication now. Your phone would have got a text message with a six-digit code, and that way you can't get hacked.
Yeah, but you'll still get hacked. It's just, yeah, they say it's not our fault.
And the movie pretty much ends. Styx looks out the window, and the leprechaun gives him the finger. A giant finger.
Is it in the same visual effect when they were growing him in size?
It's a weird effect in the sense of all the CGI of space looks horrible. There's no reason in that type scene that they would need to use a pixelated hand, because you just see a normal hand up against a CGI background.
Yeah.
You normally would not associate a leprechaun with pixel art. You know.
Never been a Leprechaun video game yet.
That's a shame too. I don't know what that game would look like, but they need a little Mac leprechaun skin. Get some old school Punch Out. Do do do. He could have special moves like his Star Punch. I guess you wouldn't want to do a leprechaun kidney stone in the video game, but these days you can do it. So I guess the question is, did this kill this Leprechaun series for us? Are we going to do part 5 next week?
I've never sat through the hoods, so I gotta see what happens in the hood.
Okay.
Presumably, those movies take place before this one does in the Lepra timeline, the split timeline, whatever it is.
That would make sense. You just assume if the movie's in space that it's set at least 1,000 years in the future. So.
Or 100, right? I mean, Star Trek was only like 100 years.
I feel like this movie's trying to say we're pretty far out there, but I don't know. The effects are so bad, you never really know.
Huh.
How do you rate this one?
What about hidey-ho miniature lightsabers?
That works for me. How many does it get?
I'm giving it 2 hidey-ho miniature lightsabers out of 5.
Okay, I can agree with that. This is a 2 out of 5 movie without Warwick playing the straight man, the straight leprechaun. I don't know that it would have gotten even 1, but the leprechaun character makes this tolerable. I think that's the best way to put it. It could have been a good movie if they had just cleaned up the script a little bit. I don't even know if they needed to spend any more money on it, but it was just, this could have been better.
So they could have got rid of all their CGI and used the money somewhere else. Don't know where. But I did like the idea that for most of this movie, the leprechaun had a sidekick. And they had their antagonistic old married couple banter between them, even though they weren't even married yet. And each one was somehow plotting the other's demise. And it's a weird saying because when the movie's over, you have the 3 surviving crew members that they made a pledge they would all get out together. And also the alien princess, who was delightfully watching the leprechaun get sucked out into space. But we have no idea what we're supposed to make of her storyline at the end of the movie.
Yeah, I mean, she wanted to kill the people too, so it may have just been the case that the reason none of them were in another movie was Princess Zarina killed them. But I think if I was going to tweak this movie, I would have set this up as all the Marines are the bad guys.
Oh.
And you have the leprechaun who is trying to settle down with his princess. You maintain the whole they want to kill each other for the whole movie. You keep that. But they come, they blow them up, they steal the princess as some kind of ransom note. They steal the gold, and the movie is the leprechaun trying to rescue his princess and get his gold back from the bad Marines.
Okay.
I mean, he's basically the hero in this movie anyways, so treat him that way.
You might as well make that turn to the leprechaun being a somewhat less than virtuous anti-hero.
Because his goal can still be to marry the princess, kill her father, and rule the kingdoms with her, and with respect. And he can still decide he doesn't want to share. So, I mean, you can keep all those side plots. It works. But I just don't see... These people are not heroic in this movie. They are lame. With the exception of Styx. Maybe Styx is cool, but, and Heidi. But the rest of them, they work for this evil guy. They really do work for this evil guy the whole movie.
Can you list all the movies that got parodied? I wonder if there is a list.
I looked for a list. This seems pretty exhaustive. So obviously Alien, in Aliens. Someone does exclaim it's alive, a la Frankenstein. I don't know if the reference really works,
I
but I think
forgot,
it is an
yeah.
allusion to that. Mittenhand compares himself to the Wizard of Oz.
Oh, yeah.
I am like the Wizard of Oz, am I not? Running things from behind a curtain. Only this wizard is not a fake. You got a John Wayne reference, the man who shot Liberty Valance. Sold it right there, Pilgrim.
Oh, the Leprechaun does do that bit, doesn't he?
Yeah. I think Middenhand is probably an allusion to The Fly.
He says help me at the end, doesn't he? Help me, help me.
Help me, help me. You have the Star Wars lightsaber.
Several shots of the Marines, when they pose with their guns, it looks just like Michael Biehn in, I guess, the first Terminator movie. Maybe I'm confusing that with Aliens. But they strike that pose that Konami ripped off for Solid Snake on NES.
Okay. Yeah, I'm not sure 100% on that one, but yeah, definitely references something. But yeah, I think there's a lot of references to other movies in this. I think they work. It's just all the stuff that's not paying homage to a classic movie is pretty much garbage. So
Whatever that drag dancing scene came from, I don't know, and I'm not sure I want to.
I don't know if that was inspired by anything.
Oh, goodness. Yeah. You're right. This could have been a lot more enjoyable, but eh,
All right, I don't think I have much else to say on this one. I feel like it's
no.
just kind of a black mark on Warwick Davis's leprechaun career. Leprechaun career. If I can talk today.
He's fine in the movie. You know,
Oh, he is.
he's fine with everything he's asked to do.
I wonder if he was embarrassed by this movie. I may look up and see if he's made mention of in space.
It did not jumpstart Debbie Dunning's film career, and she's the only one in the movie. Nunez had done this sort of thing his whole career, but
Oh yeah, this is almost
I'm
his
sure
swan song, probably.
I'm sure Debbie Dunning was hoping for a little bit more to get her film career into high gear.
Yeah, I don't know that she expected it after she was done with it, but probably going into it. And so the cast here, there's like 14 people listed on the cast. 7 of them do not have links to Wikipedia pages.
I would have thought Mittenhand would have been a more famous actor, but I don't remember seeing a whole lot on his filmography either.
He does have a link at least. Well, that's been Leprechaun 4 in space of 1996 and 1997. And yeah, I have nothing else to add.
To boldly go away. That's all we can do now.
All right. See y'all.
Bye-bye.